Yes, you'd like to score more goals, but is it frustrating to play that well to start that game and still only be up 1-0?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you need to capitalize when it's going your way. You know, when you have the momentum going and you're creating opportunities, you gotta get some.
This is what the Florida Panthers have done to their opposition all throughout these playoffs, and that is create frustration. So much so that it seems like the Florida Panthers are a team of destiny. 8th seed underdogs making it into the playoffs by the seat of their pants, only to find themselves up 2-0 in the conference final. Despite the Carolina Hurricanes playing a solid game from start to finish, they find themselves empty-handed and frustrated going back to Florida for Game 3. Whether you're the Bruins, Leafs, or Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers have found a way to frustrate all their opponents in these playoffs, and here's how. The first step to frustrating any team is to have an unbelievable goalie. What Sergei Bobrovsky is doing right now is simply incredible. In the past 7 games, Bobrovsky has only let in 13 goals, and he's been a brick wall. With a 2.43 goals against average and a .927 save percentage, he's been the weapon that drives teams to the brink of insanity. In Game 1 of this series alone, Bobrovsky made multiple 10-bell saves that would have sealed a victory for Carolina. This frustration mounts when Carolina can't capitalize on the Panthers' mistakes. Because these teams play such a similar style, the margin for error is extremely small. As a result, when there's a forced error and Carolina makes the perfect play, it is devastating when Bobrovsky steals a goal from them. Take this unbelievable play from Necas in Game 2. Necas gets this puck up high and carves through Verhaeghe to work himself towards the boards. Florida's Barkov begins the pressure and slightly mistimes his poke. Realizing he's got a little bit of an opening, Necas times a strong cutback and loads up to sell the shot. He then sends a perfect cross-seam pass to Teravainen, who one-times it instantly, and Bobrovsky is there to make an absurd save. A brilliant play to finally cause a breakdown, and Carolina comes up empty-handed. Not to mention, if you're Teravainen, you're frustrated with yourself that you didn't just take the extra second to properly get the puck to the left side of the net. Bobrovsky is starting to get into the heads of shooters where they feel like they need a rush of play to beat him, and this play was an example of that. Even when the Hurricanes are one-on-one with Bobrovsky, it feels like there's just no beating him with a clean look right now. Looking at the lone goal that did get past him in this game, it was a near-perfect tip. The frustrating part for Carolina is that they aren't playing bad either, they just can't seem to solve Bobrovsky. To compound the frustration for opponents, Florida also capitalizes on most of the other team's mistakes. So, on top of teams being frustrated by Bobrovsky, they need to be nearly perfect because of how opportunistic the Panthers are. On Barkov's gorgeous fake between the legs goal, it was all caused by a simple mistake on the half wall to get the puck out. Florida's pressure causes a turnover, Carolina's D-man gets caught thinking this puck will get up the ice, and a split-second mental error ends up in the back of Carolina's net. Mistakes like this happen in a game, but Carolina has generated those chances in bunches, yet they run into the Bobrovsky wall. That's what frustrates teams and makes them second-guess their process. We certainly saw this in the series against the Toronto Maple Leafs as all their top players went very quiet. It wasn't for a lack of chances either, as the Leafs' core 4 had actually great advanced numbers in terms of generating scoring chances, yet Bobrovsky stood tall and the Panthers were extremely opportunistic. Now, a hot goaltender can frustrate a team, but then you have to deal with the Rat King himself and Matthew Tkachuk. Every chance he gets, he's doing something to take a piece of the opponent. If he isn't scoring, he's laying the body on the forecheck. If there's a scrum, he'll give a guy a shot and then chirp the rest of the game. Even on the defensive side of the puck, he's diving to stop scoring chances from the other team. It's the little things like this that irk the opposing players over a 7-game series, and it just does enough to get them slightly off their game. To add insult to injury, he'll score both OT winners and top it off with a walk-off ending just to twist the knife. Having a player like Tkachuk only spawns more Matthew Tkachuks. There isn't a single guy on the Florida team that isn't willing to jump on the forecheck, get involved in a scrum, block a shot, and do whatever it takes to win an NHL playoff game. Tkachuk's playstyle makes everyone play an inch taller, and that is a nightmare for opposing teams. Now, this series is far from over, by the way, but the same frustration that consumed Boston and Toronto is slowly starting to show itself here in Carolina. So, what do you think about this series and the Florida Panthers in these playoffs so far? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you want to see more NHL playoff breakdowns, make sure you click that subscribe button.